Fishing Obsessed podcast. We'll be sitting down with a fresh guest each week. Someone who shares the same kayak fishing passion that runs through our veins. We're talking kayak anglers, kayak companies, lure experts. Heck, anyone who's got a story to tell about landing the big ones from a kayak. We're setting our sights on becoming the #1 kayak fishing podcast in the world. You'll get a chuckle, a grin, and hey, maybe even a belly laugh. Because we believe in the power of humor. But above all, we're here to educate and inspire. So, whether you're a seasoned kayak angler or just dipping your toes into this exhilarating world, join us on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. It's time to reel in adventure, camaraderie, and the joy of the catch. Here's your host, Daren Wyatt.
What's up, you fish freaks? Welcome to the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast, episode number 130. And tonight's show is going to be a banger. As we all know, kayak fishing has evolved fast. Better kayaks, better motors, electronics, people wanting to get off the bank. The sport has exploded. But here's the truth we don't talk about enough. Safety education hasn't kept up with the speed of the sport, and that's exactly why tonight's episode matters. I've got two awesome guests joining me. We got Chad Hoover, founder of Kayak Bass Fishing and a massive driver of the sport's growth, and Kayak Jack himself, Marty Hughes, a passionate angler who's embraced the mindset shift toward real preparation on the water a long time ago. And tonight we're talking about KFAST, Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training, why it exists, the mistakes anglers don't realize they're making, and how we can change the culture of kayak fishing safety moving forward. This isn't about fear. It's about confidence and being prepared and responsibly growing the sport we all freaking love. Wyatt, how you doing, brother?
Doing all right, man. I'm excited for this one. This one's gonna be a good one. I'm seeing a lot of new people in the chat, people I haven't seen very often, and like especially after COVID and the way that that kayak fishing and just paddle sports in general just rocketed off. Like this is gonna be something for everybody.
It's crazy. Now, of course, The show sponsor, Dark Horse Tackle, the lure of the week. I think you're gonna like this one, Wyatt. I thought about you when I pulled this one out. This is going to be from Cornerstone Lures. This is a Swiver 65 millimeter, half-ounce lipless crank, sticky owner hooks. Got that tight action. Isn't this what you won second at the Bassmaster on? It looks like almost like it was a bluegill.
It was a bluegill pattern. I saw you throw up a video of that, and I meant to shoot you a message about where did you get that one right there?
Cornerstone Baits, darkhorse.tackle.com. Came in the box, man. Came in the box.
Nice.
Well, tonight's going to be great. We're going to be giving away some KFAST gift certificates, good for the basic course. We'll be doing that throughout the show. We'll give away a few, so you might get lucky in one of those. But let's go and welcome. Well, one of our guests is gone. Let's welcome one of our guests to the show. I don't know where Chad went. Marty, how's it going, brother?
He's out back taking a pee.
Yeah, he was just there. I'm going to text him. I don't know. I don't even know what's going on.
Hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I know, right? He is down at Yak Attack, so he might be having some issues there. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, we're back.
Chad, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Pretty good. I had to switch browsers because Safari was not cooperating.
No, Safari didn't use cooperate. Well, guys, let's get right into this. We got 75 live right now, which is awesome coming out of the gate. But I got a dual question for you. One for Chad, one for Marty. Chad, take us back to the moment where we first started talking about KFAST, right? What problem in kayak fishing safety kept nagging at you? Why did you feel the industry wasn't addressing it? And then right after that, I want to hear from Marty. Marty, from your perspective as an early adopter of safety in general yourself, what was your first reaction when you heard the idea for a standardized kayak fishing safety course? Chad, you kick us off.
So about 15 or 16 years ago, I went to an ACA symposium, and I thought, oh man, this is the perfect organization to take kayak fishing safety, like take it to the next level.
Right.
Met the executive director, and I was an officer in the Navy at the time and knew pretty well how to get things done. So I thought we were like off to the races. We about a year into it, we hit a wall. It kind of stagnated. Life got in the way. I started transitioning. It kind of fell by the wayside.
You started transitioning
from the military to civilian life. Yeah. I'm 0.0% transgender, like about as close to not as you can get. So anyway, I started the transition from military life to civilian life and starting a new business, and kind of fell by the wayside. But every 3 or 4 months, somebody was dying in a fishing kayak. So I'd send a message, hey man, and I get it. There's charter organizations that have their core disciplines. 10 years of kind of going back and forth, never getting anything really done. A group out of Tennessee, led by a lady named Andrea White and Joff Luckett and a few others, started really pushing hard to get the ACA back on board. They asked myself and Jeff Little and a few other people, hey, will you help? So we're like, hell yeah. So in 2022, I helped write a grant narrative, not the grant itself, but the narrative, the justification, did a lot of information gathering, pretty much put together a perspective of why we need this in kayak fishing. ACA takes it. They get a course done. I go through the course, took, up until last year to finally get the course in place, but to be available for me to go with all the stuff I had going on. So I go through the course, you and I are talking, and I'm like, man, there's just got to be more than this. There's so many things that, they're not going to touch. We're not going to touch really anchoring. We're not going to touch motors. We're not going to touch treble hooks. So, to a certain extent, I was like, great, you're not going to touch all the things that's going to kill us. It makes perfect sense. But I love their base curriculum. I love the way that they manage instructor training, instructor certification, all that stuff. So I went through the certification, became a L2 certified, river endorsement, fishing endorsement, all that good stuff. And you and I had started talking about this. Literally, I called you up and said, I'm tired of pussyfooting around. How do you feel about helping me get an organization off the ground where we finally take the handcuffs off, take the ankle weights off, get rid of all the bureaucratic crap, and we'll launch an organization? And, guys, I'll just tell you, there was no arm twisting. There was no anything. There was no how much money can we make. There was the answer was, hell yeah, let's figure out how to do all the other stuff, but I'm in. And then the next day he texted me a picture of a dude that had just died out in California. This is why you're wanting to do this, right? I'm like, exactly. And there's been these little pebbles against the glass, unfortunately, all not the best. But then there's also these stories of, man, I almost lost my life if it wasn't for this or this or this. And a lot of it's been fragmented YouTube videos, a video I did here, a video Daren did there, a video Jeff Little did there. But the problem is most of that stuff, people do the the eye roll, and they skip over it. But it's the most important stuff you really need to know. So Daren and I had the conversation, and I said, man, what do you think, dude? Let's do. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be thankless work. We're going to go $20,000 to $30,000 in debt to get it off the ground, and we'll hopefully make our money back. Daren said, I'm in. It's that important. And then, if this was a movie 1 year later, a week ago, we launched the course, and we're starting to get people to sign up. I mentioned to Daren, hey, I've been doing this nowhere, no share thing for 20 years, but I haven't formalized it. I'm thinking about doing a pledge where you can pledge to do the nowhere, no share thing. Called my buddy Mark, who does all the graphics for both KBF and KFAST, and I said, I've got this idea for a PFD in the center, kind of like the Wear It campaign for the Coast Guard, but with nowhere, no share. And then we could get people on board with just not necessarily shaming people into not wearing their PFD or shaming them if they don't, but more of an awareness campaign for, if you don't wear your PFD, we're not going to promote your content. We're not going to like your content. We're not going to set a bad example. Daren immediately jumped on board with that. So we made the Nowhere No Share campaign, made the pledge page, built it out, and made it part of KFAST. And over 1,000 pledges later and a couple hundred people signing up for the basic course, here we are doing a podcast talking about it. But
it's live. Man, it feels good. And it's 9 months work.
People have no idea how much work it was involved in getting it off the ground, how many, 10 o'clock at night to midnight conversations, how many 5 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning, back and forth, no matter how many edits bounced back and forth via Google Share drives. And hey, can you edit this? And then we think we're done and we send it out to the experts and we're all proud of it. And, they tear it a new asshole. So then we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to go make it even more robust, make it better, make it cleaner, decide what goes in basic, what we're going to move over to advanced, so we can kind of not eat this elephant one bite at a time. But anyway, we finally just said, like, done's better than perfect. We can continue to evolve it down the road. We're at the point now where we're at the point of go, no go. So we launched it last weekend, February 8th, as good as it can be for where it's at. And it will continue to evolve and get better. And then, about a month ago, we set this podcast up thinking we were going to be, 2 months into this process. But like anything else, that's what happens when you're trying to make something. Is you never can anticipate all the potholes and the setbacks and the roadblocks and all that kind of stuff. But, thanks to guys like Wyatt and especially Marty, no offense, Wyatt, but Marty, he edited this thing and gave us feedback like 5 or 6 times. Jeff Little, 4, 5, 6 times. Andrea White, Joff Luckett, a guy named Jeff Atkins, who's a ACA alphabet soup paddle instructor. He's got so many letters after the back of his name. You don't know if he's a lawyer, a doctor, a counselor, or all of the above, because he's got that many certifications. And then lots of people that were just super enthusiastic about it when we announced it, giving us feedback. And so I'm pretty proud of it. I know Daren's proud of it. We're proud of the fact that we've taken that first step to make kayak fishing safer. And the whole idea is that we don't want you to be scared. We want you to be prepared.
Yep.
Confidence comes from competence. And the idea is that you don't have to fix everything to avoid a costly and expensive and embarrassing or a fatal incident. You just have to break like one link in the chain, or when the dominoes start falling, you only got to stop one of them for the rest of them to not fall. And I think we're there right now, but I know that we can get better and better with course improvements, advancement, and the idea that we're always open to feedback. This thing is going to evolve kind of indefinitely. So
yeah. No, we'll peel back the onions more. I got some more questions. We'll go in depth. But Marty, I know you've been a long time proponent of safety, have a lot of stories yourself. So what was your reaction? And the first person to ever actually be certified in the basic. You're the first guy, man. So
I'm going to answer your question. But first, I know what you guys said. I know what you and Chad said before hey, let's have Marty take it, because if he can pass it, anybody can.
Anybody can. That's right. So,
of kayak fishing.
He's got that 3rd grade mind.
If we can get an 84-year-old dude from Nebraska to pass this thing, anybody can pass it.
Yeah. And then, hey, I do want to say too, I was out fishing today, and you don't realize some of the safety things we haven't thought about yet. And one is a goose bombing raid. I had like thousands of geese above me, and they were just dropping bombs. It was raining bombs all around me while I was on the lake. Like, I got to get out of here. And he needed a helmet.
Dookie bombs.
And I was worried about
we'll get Drew Gregory to teach that lesson.
There you go. Anyway, so when I first heard about it, I was elated because for the fact, number one is that I used to teach like safety, like at the ramp and stuff. We had like kayak fishing schools, things like that. Mm-hmm. And when you guys said you were going to create this course, I thought it's first of all, it's much needed. And the other thing is, if you took the ACA course, nothing against them, it's very comprehensive, but how many kayak anglers are going to take the time to do that? Where what you guys have set up takes basically a couple hours and you're certified in it. And I've been doing this a long time, like you guys said. And then I saw things in there that I had forgotten about or didn't know about, that it kind of made me think a little bit. And the other thing is, I'd like to know, the guys that are listening, how many on here tonight have actually been involved in a save of somebody, or somebody capsized and you helped them? I'd like to hear how many people have actually been involved with that. I've got 5 saves so far. 5 people, and one was under for over 2 minutes, and he's alive today. And that was a kid. But when we're out, the guys that are out fishing a lot, 100, 150, 200 days a year, you're going to come across it. And will you be ready, or will they be ready? But I really like the course. It's priced right. You can't even put a price on it because it's, what it's going to do for people. So that's my answer.
Marty, real quick, because tell some of these safe stories. The stories are powerful, man. They just are.
Here's one.
So walk us through. Like, not all of us have those type of stories. You have 5.
Yeah. So I'll give you the one. I was teaching a kayak fishing class at a ramp in Omaha, and I happened to turn. It was about a 60-degree day with 40-degree water, and people were getting in the water in their kayaks with no life jackets, t-shirts and shorts. I mean, you think of Omaha, crowds coming in, and we're out there and we're teaching safety. I've got the PFD on and so forth, and our kayaks are down at the ramp, because we were fishing too that day. And I happened to just point and look out on the lake, and I saw the white of a kayak. Like, how the pelicans are two-tone, and it was the white bottom showing of the kayak. And I'm like, that kayak looks like it's upside down. I said, look, guys. So everybody's looking. And then I saw a head next to it. And so I just bailed and went down, I was in a PA 12, and I actually broke the drive paddling so hard. I broke it. Like, just going so hard to get there. And I get there, and it's basically a guy who was like probably a 6-foot pelican. That's what they are, aren't they? A little pelican. And he had hit a log, or went over a log that was at an angle, and it tipped him. And he was a 350 to 400 pound guy in t-shirts and shorts in 40-degree water. And he was already in shock by the time I got there, it looked like, because he just wasn't doing anything, wasn't moving. And his life jacket was attached to the back of the kayak when we got it flipped over. And it was a kid size attached to it. And so what I did is I was on one side of the kayak and another guy was on the other side. We had guys calling EMTs and so forth. Then a little 2-man boat came up and helped as well. And we had him hang on, and I grabbed it under his arm, and I got the life jacket free and put it under him. And then we got him to shore, and the EMTs are right there. And fortunately, he's alive today. But just think, if I wouldn't have looked over there, that was another fatality in that. And then when we came in, it was an older couple that came in, and this one guy started chewing him out for not wearing a life jacket in that water, But it was one of those like perfect moments to help save somebody without knowing about it,
Yeah.
And he was a little lethargic when we got there, but he's very thankful to be saved. And that's one of them. I got some more, but
I'm sure you do. And Marty, appreciate you sharing that. And of course, we'll get you on the show, and we'll start doing videos and blog posts about this stuff, and we'll bring some more of those to life. However, I do want to focus on something that a lot of people, and I just did it, so I want to question back to Chad. A lot of times, a lot of people like just to focus on the fatalities, and unfortunately, we just had another one this past weekend. I don't know if they're fishing or not, but I literally just had someone send me 21-year-old went missing late Friday night. And I'm reading this because I'll share it with you at the end. 21, he was in a dual kayak. It flipped over up in Washington State, so probably cold. And one guy swam back to shore and turned around. His buddy wasn't there. And so they searched for him, 12 different searches over a period of 2 days and 41 square miles. And they finally did find him, but at least behind a fiance and a 1-year-old. Oh, and they said, and this is what his family said. This is the article. Johnson was not wearing a life jacket when the kayak overturned, and his loved ones said they hope this story serves as a reminder to help prevent another tragedy moving forward. So that's why I share this story with you guys. But so we have on one side of the coin, Chad, we have fatalities, right? And those are the ones that make headlines. But it's not just about preventing deaths. So walk us through really, because we've had a lot of conversations around this. Of course, we want people to come home, fish another day, come back to their families, be there for their children, be there. The ripple effect of you not being here on Earth is pretty dramatic, and more so than most people think. So, Chad, walk us through, kind of softball that one to you, since we've had conversations around this before.
Well, here's the thing. It's really not just about the fatality thing. We tend to focus on that. We tend to talk about it. But think about what not ruining a day is worth. Is that worth $25? You know what I mean? What is not losing a bunch of gear worth? Is that worth $25? You know what I mean? But more importantly, being that voice of reason to keep somebody else from doing it. The ultimate goal for this brand, for this business, for KFAST, is that we don't really truly know the impact we have, because you can't measure avoided accidents. You can't measure the things that don't happen. So the ultimate goal is that 5 years from now, people are like, what are you guys on about?
Yeah,
like, nobody ever gets hurt in a fishing kayak. It's the safest thing in the world. And hopefully that happens. And then we go, yeah, but it's as safe as it is because of what we're doing. So we're going to keep up, keep the message going, keep the mantra going. But I've always felt like, when I was in the Navy, we did safety stand downs, is what we called them. And I was in squadrons or units, or what we call them in the military, command. I was in commands where they did safety stand downs where it was boring. And it was like Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 and everybody was just out there tuning out. And then I did safety stand downs where they made it fun, where we did like field games, and we did things that engaged the squadron, engaged the members. We had competitions. We did stuff like that, to where we created this like Mary Poppins effect, where the spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. And one of the things that we tried to do with this course, and what we're going to try to do with both the branding and the facilitation of the growth of this business, is to make the discussions around safety and make preparedness fun. You know what I mean? Engaging, to a certain extent, go so corny that it's memorable, but just to not make it boring, not to make it to the point where you feel like you've got to hold your breath to get through it. So far, the most meaningful feedback I've gotten 2 different feedbacks from people who weren't part of the evaluation process. Like, I coached those people to be hard on it. But I had one guy that messaged me and said, dang, dude, I got to the first test and I didn't really pay attention, and I thought the tests were going to be a give me. So I had to rewatch the first section and take the test over again. Now I got to pay attention for the rest of the course. So I thought, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not just a hit the play button and let it run. Then he messaged me back later and he said, hey man, I just finished the whole course. It was really well balanced and it kept me engaged along the way. And if I'd have just paid attention in the first lesson the first time, I wouldn't have wasted all that time. So the idea is that we did systematically make this thing entertaining, try to do, we're obviously pretty good at video content creation. So we tried to do the back and forth and the frame shifting and the B-rolling and all that kind of stuff to make it more engaging. But the idea too is that if you really pay attention to it, it's quotable. There's things that you can grab yourself that you can use as the one-liner to talk the guy in the boat ramp into buying into the safety culture. And that's really what we want to accomplish, is we want to create a camaraderie around the culture of safety. Make it to where it's our second language, not make it to where it's something you got to go, oh shit, we got to do safety stand-on again, or oh gosh, we got to go take that safety course. And the reason we're not making a certification process where you got to get recertified every 2 years or 3 years or 4 years is that if you're basic certified and you're part of the community, you're going to stay part of the community because you're teaching other people. Mm-hmm. So therefore you're keeping your currency because you're actively involved, because you're part of the culture. And so that's the idea behind it. And so for me, that's the thing that I'm the most proud of, is that we didn't do that by accident. We systematically shot and reshot videos, and we would watch it through and go, oh man, it kind of sticks right here and it's boring. And, we said the same shit too many times. So take that out and let's re-edit it and go back and reshoot it. And there's even a time or two where I thought I was done, and I would be like, yeah. And I'd upload the videos and Daren would be like, hey, when are you going to do your videos? I'm like, I did them yesterday. He's like, bro, you got like 13 more videos to do. And I'm like, are you serious, bro? And then I would go download the thing and read it and go, oh man, I missed this, this, and this. And you know how when you go print and it's the number of pages, but you don't hit all and it just prints the first page? I did that a couple times. So anyway, but what I'm the proudest of so far, and again, when you work hard for something, it's not egotistical or arrogant or any of that to be proud of it. But what I'm proud of the most so far is when people say, dang, I did this course and it was worth it. Mm. And I know they're surprised, because most people are surprised that a safety course is worth it. When I took the Alabama boater safety course because I had to be legal. I was watching that thing going, this doesn't have anything to do with me.
Yep.
I am not backing a boat up to a dock. I am not driving and needing to know which buoy is red right or returning. This is not me. But this course is us. It's our community. It's kayak fishing specific. That's why it's called KFAST. And the other thing is that course took me 2.5 weeks to complete because I felt like every lesson was like swallowing medicine. It was like, not another teaspoon of Robitussin. I can't take anymore. But with this course, even when I went through it myself, I was like, damn, that was actually pretty smooth. It was pretty engaging, you know? So to me, I think we struck a good balance, and I hope that other people agree. And if we didn't, let us know. Between the harping on the browbeating of the death thing, which is not the only reason that you should be safer. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just wear your seatbelt to keep from being ejected from the vehicle. You also wear your seatbelt to keep from banging your face on the steering wheel or the windshield. You're not going to die, but you're going to be picking glass out your forehead for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So the idea is not just to prevent a fatality. It's to not have you ruin your day or to have a better day on the water or help somebody else have a better day on the water. So, you know, make it part of the culture. That's what I'm excited about.
100%. We don't want someone to flip their gear, be scared, and never get back in again, and never go kayak fishing. That's terrible for the sport. Absolutely terrible for the sport. So with that preparation,
and tell every person they run into for the rest of their life, man, screw that kayak fishing.
Yeah, I tried
that.
Yeah,
you know.
And then the ripple effect for generations of people not getting into sport, just simple because they weren't prepared.
And I can't tell you how many times over the years. I mean, I've been doing this 30 years. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten the text message, the email, or even like the mom walking up to me at Bass Pro Shop or Cabela's or Waffle House, something going, hey, are you that kayak fishing guy? I'm like, yeah. They're like, my God, my son watches your videos all the time and he is so excited about getting in a kayak. But I'll be honest with you, I worry about it because I see all these people dying in kayaks all the time. And I'm like, I mean, I know what you're saying, but that's like not getting on an airplane because you see airplanes crashing on the news, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a big part of it is messaging. It's confidence. It's a community collective of changing the narrative.
Yeah. I got some comments over here and I got some more questions for you. Let's go ahead and read some of these. Let me see here. Back to let's see here. Hunting and fishing Oklahoma. I saved 2. They were floating down a swift park of a creek. Instead of walking their kayaks, they tried floating it, tipped, and almost went under a brush pile. Yeah, man. Dangerous. Assisted my friends from Jason Graham's W2G. Assisted my friend getting his kayak flipped back over in the middle of the lake just after watching Chad's video. Thanks, Chad, for the content. I love it. Yak Bass. I've owned kayaks since 2015. I learned from this course. Thank you, brother. So, and of course, hunting and fishing Oklahoma. I'm waiting for the next one to learn more. So, really quick, let's talk about that for a second because Chad, walk through the structure because we have had a lot of conversations about this, right? We have basic, and I can't tell you, Chad and I were like ripping lessons out of basic to literally make it basic because there's so much you could put in it that you're like, you know what, we this thing can't be 8 hours long, right? So we gotta have the basic for those who are just getting in the sport, and then the advanced. But beyond advanced, we have guide instructor, where we haven't like publicly talked about a whole lot, and so. Walk through the psychology, what we'll be offering people once they get to advanced, how people can actually help support their families with this moving forward as we scale kayak fishing safety.
So the idea was just like not making it boring. And, you know, we needed to provide a return on investment for what we invested in it. The easiest way to do that is to make the consumer the advocate. So if the consumer can come on board and sign up for a affiliate program where when they refer the course to people, they can make money as well. We really amplify that each one, reach one, each one, teach one philosophy. And so the idea behind it was also that our original curriculum for basic was like 37 lessons. I know you guys think that's crazy, but it was literally 37 lessons. So I just went through first with a hatchet, then with a hammer, and then with a scalpel to keep paring it down to what we thought was, the core. You've got to know this stuff for basic safety. But let's migrate some stuff over to advanced. Like, for example, not everybody's going to put a motor on their kayak. Let's do electrical safety and motors in advanced. Not everybody really cares about being a great paddler, and you don't have to be a great paddler to be safe. You can just go out and beat the water into submission. But if you want to be a better and safer paddler, then you protect your shoulders, you protect your forearms, you protect yourself from fatigue, so you learn how to paddle better. So the paddle course on how to do all the strokes, to do advanced strokes, to do all those things is in advanced. You got to transport your kayak to the water, right? But there's enough basic stuff out there to get you by. But if you really want to be good at it and you want to protect that investment of that more expensive, more advanced kayak, we do transportation and transportation safety and the things to think about in the advanced course. Speaking of electronics and motors, you're going to put that stuff on your kayak. How many people have you seen catch their stuff on fire? I know for a fact that I've got 5 or 6 close friends that I consider relatively intelligent people who've damn near burned their kayak up because they don't understand electrical safety. Right. Selecting the right wire gauge, putting a circuit breaker in, putting in things like, smart shunts and things to manage those things from a cell phone, getting notifications and warnings. A circuit breaker is great, but if you put a 50 amp circuit breaker on a motor that's never going to get to 50 amp, you pretty much have a straight piece of wire. So you got to figure out those things to know what level does that circuit breaker need to be at to protect me by breaking the circuit. If it doesn't break until the damn motor has melted the wire to the side of the kayak, it doesn't do you any good, and it's not a circuit breaker. So we knew a lot of that stuff just couldn't be in basic because we would lose people. There would be the eye roll. There would be the review that's like, holy crap, I tried to take a basic kayak fishing safety course and they want me to be an electrical engineer. Mm-hmm. I tried to take a basic kayak fishing safety course and they want me to be a damn meteorologist. So we want to do things in advance for the people who want to be advanced. You want to know more about electrical safety. You want to know more about tides and navigation, wind prediction models, measuring weather, recognizing patterns. All those things, in my opinion, make you a great fisherman. I can promise you this dude up here knows weather because he catches fish everywhere he goes around the country all the time, and he catches more and bigger fish than almost damn near everybody else. He ain't doing that by not being a student of the things that affect the thing that he's pursuing, which is that green bass with a little bitty BB brain that reacts to all those things. But we wanted to teach this stuff systematically. So with advanced, we want to get into all of those things that are that next level stuff. Almost like advanced is the stuff you would teach the guy who's not willing to take basic to get him fired up about taking basic. So then he wants to then take advanced later, if that makes sense. And then the idea behind guide is there's some people that are just don't learn well from watching. They don't learn well from reading. They learn well from doing. So the idea is that we create a guide scenario where, let's just say you're from central Nebraska and you're like, I don't read good, right? And you can go to a live course where that instructor or that guide can teach you. So guides can teach advanced and they can teach basic if you want to go in an in-person course. And one of the things that we're also really proud of is that the model that we've got is if you want to be a guide and you want to host a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 person get together over the weekend, you make all that money. You make 100% of that course where you use our course to get people together to make money for yourself. And the idea behind instructor is, guide instructor is, as an instructor, you can teach people how to teach. So you can become a person that can certify people as an instructor. So that's what the purpose of instructor is that you become somebody that can instruct other guides on how to instruct other guys to become instructors so that they're better. You're not going to be able to not teach as a guide, but you'll be a better teacher if you're a guide instructor, and you'll be able to certify other guides as guide instructors, and you can just make more money doing it. The other idea is that instructors can oversee guides teaching advanced, teaching basic. So as an instructor, you got the ability to have 2 or 3 guides under you who have 2 or 3 advanced people under them teaching, 4 to 5 basic people each. And realistically, in a weekend, you could make $4,000 or $5,000 because you can stack it to where you set a course up. And we're going to be providing, templates and structures and things for you to do this for yourself. But ideally, you get to create your own little business. I think of it kind of like how YouTube gives us the platform.
Right.
We got to make our own content. And we put it on there, and there's a monetization model. They tell us how we get paid, and we go out and we create the content. We do the best we can. The better our videos do, the more money we make. That's what we really want to do with KFAST, is we want to give you the platform. You can go out and say, hey, I'm Wyatt Hammond. Everybody knows who I am because I've won every freaking title in kayak fishing. But did you know I'm also the safest dude on the water so that I'm more efficient? I'm going to be heading down to, Kissimmee, Florida to do the Bassmaster Kayak Nation, the Bass Nation Kayak Series event. But I'm going to get there 2 days early, and I'm staying a day late, and I'm going to teach 4 courses while I'm there. If you want to sign up, click on the link below. So you can teach people because they know who you are or because you're promoting your business, and you can pay for your trip by going down and instructing people. And then you leave there knowing you left that place better than it was when you got there. And it's not some leave no trace, pie in the sky, foo-foo philosophy, which there's nothing wrong with leave no trace, but there's definitely something better than not just not leaving trace that you're there, but leave residual of yourself. You made that place better by making people who are now on their path to becoming guides, instructors, advanced, and all that good stuff. So it's a tiered approach to creating a business where, as long as we can make enough to keep the lights on, we want to make the sport safer, and we want to give you guys the opportunity to make money doing this as well.
Yeah, I like it. Kara's got a question over here, or a comment. She said, yikes, that's a lot to learn under advanced. Will be split into different courses. And Kara, we have a lot. We've only talked about a few of them. We got surf launching, landing, coastal dynamics, river and moving water, hazard management. We got rescue and recovery operation. And they're just so first aid, wilderness, medical, all this stuff is advanced. And how we're setting it up is that we're setting it up under lessons, right? And so we don't want to have like 100 lessons in advance. Chad and I are consolidating. I'm imagining we're going to land around 12 or 13 when it's all said and done. They'll be a whole lot more comprehensive than basic. They'll be a lot longer. The tests will be harder because we're covering a whole lot more. But we hope to make it something where it's digestible. It's not too hard. And so great question there. Tony Southern 3049's got a question. I see the basic is $25. And what will the cost be for each training course? Now, Chad, really quick, let's talk about how we arrived at $25, right? And how we arrived at the advanced pricing and why we're giving essentially guide instructor away. Walk us through that.
So obviously I have some experience doing this with KBF. And one of the things I did with KBF is I set up a membership to help me with the overhead. But when you get a $25 membership, you don't realize how fast that goes away when you give away a couple decals, when you put it in an envelope, when you put a card in with it, when you pay the postage and you pay somebody to do the fulfillment.
All right.
So it gets absorbed pretty quickly. So what we decided is 25 is kind of the minimum to make this thing viable. And when you take out what Stripe takes away, what the course platform Kajabi that we use takes away, it's basically a 50% deal. We're going to make about $12 to $13 net off of each course, and that's the minimum. And then we're got to obviously pay taxes on that 12 to.
We have insurance, all this stuff. Yeah, there's so many
insurance
things.
and all that other stuff. And then the idea was that that's our base. If we can break even on that, we're good. But as we go to advanced, we go to $50. So now instead of making $13 on it, we'll make 25 plus 13 or $38 on it. So then we can invest back in the sport. We can invest in more ads. We can cover venues for hosting courses where 100 people get certified. We can create a rewards and recognition program with like challenge coins when you have taught 50 classes, stickers and t-shirts when you've accomplished 100 classes or 100 certifications, 100 referrals, things like that. So we keep the excitement going to where there's more to this than just pay us, learn something, go on. We want people to be excited and to be vocal about it. And then with the guide and the guide instructor, you get into a higher insurance carrying policy. When you certify somebody to teach other people, your insurance premium to cover those people goes up because now you're assuming responsibility for people who are assuming responsibility. And so with those, we priced that honestly as cheap as we could, but to make it cost effective. So $125 for the guide program and $250 for the instructor program. I'm going to make that make sense for you from the standpoint of what I went through. I went to the ACA L2 River Instructor course. By the time it was all said and done, I spent 4 days, $600 for the course, and about another $450 on food, gas, and lodging. So I spent over $1,000 to get L2 certified as a river instructor. In my opinion, by the time you finish guide and instructor, you're equivalent to an L3, L4 instructor in the ACA, which would cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,500 to $4,000. And that depends on you having something close to you. If Marty had to drive to an ACA course, it would cost him $4,000 just in gas money. Because the closest person to him is probably the East Coast or California. So anyway, the way that we base the pricing is on a standard reasonable price model. We want to price it to where it's effective enough that, we'd rather have 100 people at $125, $150 than 5 people at $500, right? So we just used really good business practices, figured out what the value proposition is, and are we providing back a better value than it costs? And at every level, we feel like we're being able to answer that question with not just a yeah, but a hell yeah. And so that's kind of how we priced it, just like anything else.
We didn't want price to be a barrier to entry. And so like for the price of a jackhammer, right, you could take this course. That was kind of the idea for a lure that we all love. Also, when you finish the course, we kick you out an email. And in that email, we've already had people say, I got my value back, because we provide discounts to some of the best fishing companies out there. We've had people who are like, I took the course, turned around, got the discount of something I wanted to buy anyways. And essentially I got the classes for free because I always wanted to buy this thing that I got the discount for. And there's multiple discounts in there.
And so, getting better. We just secured another one today that we ain't ready to announce yet, but we'll announce that next week, and you'll get another value back for a course you paid for a month ago.
Yeah. So if you already took it and finished it, trust me, we'll send you an email and you'll still get access to those discounts as we onboard them to KFAST. Got some comments over here. GP Outdoors says, I've been in construction safety for over 25 years, and the KFAST is one of the best classes I've ever attended. Makes me hungry for more. I'm excited about the advanced class. Thank you. Appreciate that, brother. Farm Medic 729 said, same here. I've been in fire EMS for 21 years, and it went into greater detail than I thought that I was taught in my classes. This is a great feedback. I hadn't heard some of this before.
Did you hire all these people to jump in?
I didn't. I promise you. I don't even know. Like, I kind of recognize some of the names on the podcast that are regulars, and some of these I don't recognize, but they're coming out of the woodwork. And appreciate the feedback. Also, we've got a lot of feedback right after we launched, and we went in there and changed it because things were a little bit confusing. So this is we always reserve the right to make changes and make this better. And we listen, right? We're not. And one of the things I wanted to mention here, Chad, and we've had conversations about this. We don't want this to be the Chad and Daren show. And so when Chad and I we have this project management system that we work out of, and we were scoping out advanced, and there's like 13 courses. And so Chad, walk us through what I mean by we don't want this to be the you and I show, and what this is going to look like more so. And you didn't even talk about modules. So answer that question and then go into modules.
So to go back and actually sort of answer Cairo's question at the same time as answering this question.
Yeah.
The advanced course will basically be like basic on steroids. It'll be further on everything that we already did and going, 2 or 3 layers deep on stuff that we didn't cover or we just barely touched on in basic. But then we will have some things that we go halfway on, and then to go even further, you'll elect to sign up for a module. So if you say, hey, I want to be basic electrical safety and I want to make sure my motor ain't going to burn up, we'll cover that. But if you say, man, I really want to calculate how to get the best current management, I want to know what the minimum amp hour battery that I need with this circuit breaker, with this wiring, with this amp draw to do this and this and this, we'll cover that in a module called Advanced Electronics and Motorization. And that'll be $10 to $15 or something like that, right? So we'll have advanced modules that we'll go do with, say, C-Clear, like the obvious subject matter experts in the space.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, in that vein of not being subject matter experts, we'll say, hey, listen, there's a river deal. Okay. Who's the recognized river expert in the space? Jeff Little. So Jeff Little will create, develop, and implement the river module, but he will also be a guest host or instructor, teacher, subject matter expert in the advanced course for river. And for people that are subject matter experts in that specialization, we're reaching out to those people and establishing relationships and paying them for their time to create content to where advanced isn't the Chad and Daren show. And then guide is not the Chad and Daren show. And then instructor is not the Chad and Daren show. It's more of a community driven curriculum. And, hopefully down the road, we mess up and somebody goes, dude, I can't believe you didn't get Billy Bob Buttnuckle from Crooked Elbow, Alabama to do trailers because he's the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
And we call him up and he goes, hell yeah, I'll do it. And we add that to the curriculum, or we replace what we did with his stuff if it's better. And then we send out a message to everybody that created the course and says, hey, if you want to review module 17 of advanced, we just updated it with the undisputed champion of this category. Go watch that module now. Almost like as a continuing education resolution to where you're always going to stay up to date on the latest and greatest as we evolve the course and make it better.
So one thing you didn't talk about yet, and then Marty, get ready for I want to hear some of your questions that you and Wyatt might have. We talked about ways you can earn with, a guide and guide instructor, but when we launch advanced, and we're shooting for June 1, right around June, July, right around ICAST. Before June ICAST 1. Is what we're trying to do.
Lock it down. We're going to make it happen.
Locking it down. What can you expect also with advanced that we don't have right now?
The affiliate program goes live with advanced. The reason being is, we don't want to create mass hysteria with every basic person out there trying to fight with every other basic person to be the affiliate program. So if you take that next step and you get into advanced and you go to that level, you're now automatically being part of the affiliate program. And we haven't 100% locked that commission down, but I can tell you this, Daren and I both gnash our teeth and roll our eyes and breathe out sighs of frustration at affiliate programs that we both are part of or were offered on a daily basis. Like I could open my phone right now and I've got an affiliate program offer. 90% of the affiliate programs out there, they use you to get the lead and then they do everything they can to not give you credit for it. We're going to do everything we can to give you credit for it because I want you to get the credit so that at the end of the month you get a check. I want you telling your wife, listen, baby, I got to go teach this course. I made $750 last month doing that. It's way better. I want you to strain relationships because you're going to teach courses. I want you to miss kids' birthdays. I want you to not show up to buddies' weddings because you're making kayak fishing safe. And I want you to feel good about it. No, I'm just kidding. We do want it to be something that you don't feel like your time is wasted and you're making somebody else money and you're not getting anything out of it, because we do realize there are lots of different motivations. And you can still have all of those motivations. You want to save people. You want to make the community better. You want to make the course better. But that doesn't mean it ain't also nice to get compensated for it. And so for me, it was a non-starter to do this course and not offer some type of commission and some type of affiliate program. And once you're advanced certified, you're in that affiliate program. And then here's where we get into a membership. What's the catch? Well, the catch is you're eligible for your affiliate program as long as you are advanced qualified and maintain your membership. We haven't set membership, but it's going to be somewhere in the $15 to $20 range a year. But then you refer 2 courses and you pay for your membership, and then you get paid for every affiliate you refer for the rest of your life. And then the idea is that membership is that basic business overhead coverage that we need to keep the lights on, to keep growing, to spend money on an ad buy, to serve this out to brand new kayak anglers who are just getting started, to put this in front of people who've never seen it. And more importantly, and here's the other part that I want to talk about that people may or may not understand, especially if they don't tournament fish. Okay. I applied for a permit for a tournament 4 months ago. when I applied for the permit, they asked me for my safety abatement plan. And I was like, what is that? And they said, well, I'm sure you heard about the accident down there at Smith Lake. So now we're required for every tournament that the tournament director has to submit a plan for how they're going to make their tournament safer. And I was like, oh, we're requiring all the anglers to take a basic safety course. And they're like, what basic safety course? I'm like, it's called KFAST. They're like, I never heard of that. I was like, well, I can send you a link. And then they're like, oh, so it's like the boater safety course, but for kayak fishermen. I was like, no. If the boater safety course is a Matchbox car, the KFAST course is a Ferrari compared to what you get out of those basic safety courses that are literally the most ridiculous animated graphics ever. And we're requiring that they're at least basic safety certified prior to competition. And I think we're the only organization in the world that has a basic safety certification requirement to participate, and we have a way to validate it. And he was like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, they have to upload their certificate to the tournament management app before they can register. I sent him a screenshot of it, and he was like, oh, all right, fair enough, check. The other thing is the insurance companies every year are trying to increase our, well, there's more and more kayak fatalities out there. So the only way to curb the constant increase of those insurance premiums is to say, wait a minute, we now have a safety course. So you know how, like, if you take driver's ed, you get a discount on your insurance? It's the same thing. We now have a safety course. So in the long run, indirectly or directly, you're going to save money by participating in this because you're going to make money back if you're in part of the affiliate program. And tournaments are going to have to pass cost along to you if they have to pay more for the insurance and
100%.
more for all this other stuff. So by becoming safety certified, we as a industry, we actually beat that before they make it mandatory. I'll give you another example that's kind of a crossover into the tournament world. I started requiring release videos 5 years ago. A lot of complaining, belly aching, moaning. Well, there's two reasons that I was requiring the release videos. There was a couple of rumors that I'd heard, and there was things that I thought of about how somebody could cheat, and I wanted a release video to prove it. But the other thing was, a lot of our northern brethren were starting to have to provide these mortality reports to the body that grants the permit. What is your mortality rate? How many fish did you catch? What is your survivability? You know, mortality is how many fish you kill, right? How many fish die? What is your plan to keep fish from dying? And we're like, well, we release all the fish right where we catch them. Oh, well, how do you know they release them? What if they kill them and you don't know it? Well, they're DQ'd. How are they DQ'd? Because we require a release video. We got to see the fish swim away safe. Oh, okay, check, and then they move on. So a lot of this stuff is being proactive to prevent some of the regulatory BS that always creeps into things that you guys have heard about on the boat side. We're doing these things to be proactive in our sport to protect us from some of these regulatory knee jerks, because 9 times out of the 10, the laws and the rules are made by people who don't understand kayak fishing. So if you just have an answer for them, 9 times out of 10, you take their little baton that they're beating the drum with. You're like, here, give me that drumstick, and you break it. And you're like, no, shut up.
We are coming around 90 live right now. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so. And also, we're going to give away here at the end of the show some KFAST basic courses. So if you want to be a part of that drawing, we'll do that live. Go ahead and type KFAST into the comment section right now. Some of you have already done that. So we have 2 entries right now, and we'll circle back after a few more questions here. But write KFAST in the comment section, and we'll circle and we'll do a drawing around there. All right, Marty, Wyatt, questions you guys got? What do you got?
So, Mike, mine kind of stem from I work for a kayak retailer, and I know all of us here are major, kayak tournament fishermen, kayak fishermen. The vast majority of the kayak, 95% of the kayaks I sell are to non-tournament fishermen.
Yeah,
and it's the sun dolphins, it's the pelicans and things like that. And I'm just running around in my head trying to figure out the best way to break that certification course to that kind of demographic, because those are the ones that need it. Those are the ones that, they're walking into a Walmart and asking the guy for a kayak off the shelf, and no one's saying anything about, what's the weight capacity of the kayak? Oh, it says right here that it's 350 pounds. Well, the kayak weighs 75 pounds. So what's your actual usable capacity? 275. So, that stuff that just doesn't get taught to people that needs to really be brought to the forefront of that. The 90% of us, the vast majority that are just, buying that one kayak, buying that $200 Pelican, they throw it out behind the house and they use it once a year. Like those are the guys that this really, really, really needs to go to.
Yeah, good point.
So the way that we're targeting that is we're working with these brands, even those brands like Sun Dolphin and Pelican, what I call the mass distribution brands, and saying, hey guys, we'd love for you to put a hang tag or a decal with your manufacturer statement of origin or your little owner's kit that says take this course, and then that way you can kind of help make the people that are using your course safer. So then they get to take that to their product liability insurer and say, hey, we've got a product liability policy, but what if we put a little thing on here that says take this safety course to use this product safer? Can we get a little bit of a discount? And when I go to them and tell them, hey, you can go to your insurance company and potentially get a reduction in your claimability, for one, because you gave the person the opportunity to take a course to make themselves safer. So that's a big part of it. And the true liability and the formula that they use to determine that. So you can save in litigation, you can save in actual, the underwriting of your policy, and it's just a good thing to do for the community. We've literally batting 1,000 for going to manufacturers, and it's going to be kind of added on a rolling basis. They're putting the Nowhere No Share campaign on their websites. They're putting the KFAST on the page where you register your kayak. And then as we roll things out, if we haven't already missed their ship dates, they're starting to add them to the hang tags and starting to add them to the package, the thing that's on the kayak when you buy it. Next level is to work with PFD manufacturers, to work with, I'm in Virginia right now. I'm at Yak Attack. I've already convinced Yak Attack to add decals for Nowhere No Share to every package that goes out the door. Tomorrow, I'm going to be working with them on doing hang tags and flyers for KFAST basic safety certification, a landing page on their website, a reference to say, go take KFAST when you check out. So even if that guy buys a Sun Dolphin, if he even thinks about fishing and he runs across Yak Attack and he orders a part, he's going to get touched. So again, these are things that all cost money. So that's a big part of the reason that we're running this thing like a business instead of a not-for-profit. So we don't got to be out begging for money, we're literally providing a service. My goal is to leave here with a deal from Yak Attack. Hey, give us a code. Every time somebody completes a course, they get a $25 gift certificate to Yak Attack. And then ultimately, I want the deal to be when you sign up for basic, you get enough of a value proposition that you practically paid for everything all the way to guide instructor, and that the companies themselves are also benefiting from it. Because, I'll be honest with you, and maybe these instructors or these managers or CEOs or whatever are watching this, but the real easy thing is at the end when you meet with them and say, so we'd love to have you on board, unless, of course, you don't want to make kayak fishing safer and you don't care about anglers. And then what are they going to say?
Yeah.
So
it's happening. Wyatt. We've been having these conversations behind the scenes. We already have kayak companies who are doing this.
I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing in my head, but even to the point of like, if you've completed certification, you get a 50% off discount code for next certification. That whenever I'm out there and I sit and I run across that guy who's launching his Pelican or anything like that, hey, I've got a quick safety course you can take here. Go check this guy. Go check this website out. Go check this, that, and the other. Just kind of because there's thousands of us out there. We're going to all these lakes, and we see all these people, so we can go interact with them, because they might not come across our fishing podcast, but whenever we're at a boat ramp and then that guy's launching right next to us, I'm like, hey man, you don't have a life jacket on. Let me give you this information about this course. So,
yeah, no, I like it. Marty.
Yeah, I had just a couple things. Well, one is I've been guiding long since about 20-something years, and I have a lot of guys approach me. Hey, I want to be a kayak guide, Marty, and can you tell me a little bit about it? I'm like, well, I tell them about it. I say, you might want to have some guide insurance. Well, guide insurance has skyrocketed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm to the point now where I have to insure each kayak individually for my business for each person that's in it. And so that adds more cost to my business as well each year. But then they shy away because of that. So hopefully with all this, we can keep these insurance rates at an even keel, maybe even lower. And then guys will want to, maybe we'll have more guides up. Plus it'll make the community more safe with more certified guides out there. The second thing is, and I think I like the idea of the modules that you guys are doing, because you can select, hey, I think I need to do this electrical one because I've got, the sonar units and stuff in my kayak. But get this, and I think you guys may have touched on this, but new fishing brought this up about I need to plan my snacks. The one thing that a lot of people fail to do is eat or drink during a tournament day or a kayak fishing outing. And I call it wellness intake. And Daren, you were a marathoner. I was a marathoner. We know that if you do not take any water during a marathon, you're toast. And when we're in a kayak fishing tournament, to me, it's about like running a 10K during the day. That's the energy expenditure I believe that we give based on my relation to that running, but when we ran anyway. Yep. Anyway, so I just want to give one story. I was at Sam Rayburn fishing a tournament. I can't remember who put it on, but we were out there and it was super hot. And there was a guy laying on the dock when we got done. We were getting ready for the awards. There was a guy laying on the dock on his back, and he had got heat exhaustion. And he even had bottles that he drank and fruit and everything else, but he was in bad shape. We had to get the ambulance, and there's a guy behind him. He actually, when you're throwing up, you're in bad shape. That's what he did. And I can't remember the guy that sat behind him, but we got him cooled off a little bit in the shade. But he would have died if we wouldn't have seen him. And that's, again, wellness intake. He didn't even drink enough water. And so I think there needs to be something in those, and I'm sure you guys are going to cover it, but I think that kind of safety. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention was another guy that we saved. He reached back for his pole. That's usually how it happens, as he tipped his kayak. And I was right ahead. I was going towards him when it happened. And he had his life jacket on, but not buckled or zipped. And it went right over his head, and he was thrashing around. And then I got on my bow, a bass boat helped get him in. But if we wouldn't have been there, that guy was toast too. So you want to make sure you wear it securely and zipper it and buckle it and everything else. So that's my 2 cents worth tonight.
No, that's good.
Here's an example. Why this is one of the manufacturers we're working with. They actually designed this themselves, and they're going to be adding this to all of their manufactured slot fly-ins. So this KFAST overview and why you should take the course will be basically added to every boat that they sell. So that's the level of commitment we're getting from the brands. If you go to Malone Trailers website, for example, it's already there. We've got half a dozen other brands. Finished a conversation with Guardian Angel today. Guardian Angel is going to pay for placement of ads with content Daren and I create. And then at the end of it, we're going to get to do a shout out for how, like, hey, if you're listening to this and you're considering kayak fishing, be sure to invest in yourself and head over to learn more about making kayak fishing safer at kfast.co. Little things like that. My video that I released today on YouTube, I've got like a KFAST commercial practically at the end of it. So we're going to do everything that we can to raise the bar, and short of being obnoxious and anal about it, we're going to promote safety as hard as we possibly can.
100%. We just hit 100 live. Please hit that like button. Thank you all for showing up tonight. This is awesome. Chad, I got some more questions for you. And will this be required? I know that you got this question. Will this be required for KBF? Because I know you've been fielding a variety of text messages and phone calls around it.
So my initial inclination was yes. Like I had it even set up in all the tournaments where starting May 1st, we were going to make it mandatory, right? But because nobody's called me on it yet, and I've been proactive in the national championship permit process and some of these other things, but we're not at the point where it's there yet. My goal for this year is to inspire, not require. That's my little call to action. And Marty, being the VP of operations for KBF over there, and I and Mark Fainer, who's the director of tournament operations, have had numerous hours of offline conversations about Is it better to make it mandatory? Is it better to, and here's my philosophy on it, at least for right now, until we hit a critical mass of where it's almost like, dude, you're not basic certified. What the hell's wrong with you? We want to inspire you to take it, not require you to take it. And I also feel like if you require people to take it, the vast majority of people are going to take it the night before and they're going to rush through it and they're not going to get out of it what they should. So to me, as much as I really want to, and my initial inclination and knee jerk was to require it, this year we're going to inspire people to take it, not require people to take it. And that includes starting May 1st for Mayhem, we're going to add some bonuses to Big Bass and, KFAST giveaways if you're a KFAST member and you win or you place. And we're going to do some random drawings for some prizes if you're KFAST certified and you're competing. So, for example, yesterday I did a spot check for a release video. I do this thing on KBF where I pull a random number. I text Marty the number beforehand, pull a random number, get people to post it so it's as random can be. So I text the guy, hey, man, are you you got your release video? He sends me the release video, and it is almost perfect. I was like, sweet. Hey, are you KFAST certified? He was like, no. I was like, damn. Well, had you been KFAST certified, I'll give you 2 months free entry into KBF, but you're not KFAST certified, so you got 1 month. And he's like, I get a text like 4 hours later. Dude, I just finished my KFAST cert. Thanks. So kind of we're going to require it. We're going to require it at some point. But we're going to inspire people to take it. We're going to motivate people to take it. We're going to make people want to take it before we make it mandatory at some point down the road.
Thank you for sharing that. It'll get to the point where insurance companies just may require something, and that's what we'll have, right? We're trying to get out ahead of this. It's coming, folks. Yeah. It is coming. All right, I want to talk about something a little quick. We haven't talked about a whole lot. We have a public awareness campaign, and there is a knee-jerk reaction by some people to the public awareness campaign. It's the no wear, no share. And what Chad and I haven't talked about, it's also the you wear, we share campaign. I guess the inverse is also true. But Chad, we've talked about there's some people that have a knee-jerk reaction to it. They don't like it. They feel like we're bullying. They feel like we're censoring. They feel that a lot of feelings. Let's put it that way. And you and I own very large groups in the kayak fishing community. I think you have 118,000. Kayak Fishing Freaks just hit 60,000 members earlier this week. Beginner kayak fishing at coming up on 5,000. And we've had this conversation like, hey, should we make this like a requirement? And we landed somewhere. And so first, let's talk about no share, what it is. 2, the knee-jerk reactions, kind of let's debunk a lot of them. Because a lot of people are making comments and I don't even have any clue what the pledge is. And 3, talk about our conversations that we've had about should we require this to be a part of the groups, and kind of the same angle we're kind of taking with KBF, however, with the groups that we own and manage.
Yeah. So, like I said, I've been on again, off again with nowhere, no share for probably 25 years, really heavily for about 15. I was a pro staff director for the first ever fishing team in kayak fishing. You could argue about that if you want to. You could just be making a lot of noise and be wrong. We built the first ever real fishing team. It was Wilderness Systems. We're the first one. I was the team manager. It was the first real fishing team. Scott Knoll started it, but before he got it across the finish line, I took it over. That was the first fishing team. The first thing we did is implement a PFD required for all photography, all media, and everything policy. There was 2 guys on the team. I live in Texas. That's hot. That's shallow water. Cool. You don't have to be on the team. You just have to wear your PFD and all photos and videos if you're on the team. Mm-hmm. Your call. One of them stayed, one of them left. Cool, no problem. Okay. So I've been dealing with that blowback, ever since I started this. But I'll tell you what sold this for me to go full court press with it. I was at a boat ramp, late September, early teal season, 2023. This is September. See this kid running a mud boat in the middle of the night. Damn near runs me over like 2 times because he's running without no lights on. So I go to the boat ramp and wait on his ass to come back so I can have a little man-to-man conversation with him about running his boat with no lights, blaring turtle box music, not paying attention to what the hell he's doing. And then I notice he doesn't have a single PFD on, but he's got kayaks in the boat too. So I said something to him about the boat. I didn't say anything about the PFD. Run into him later in duck season, like big duck season, November, December. And I said, hey, man, you really shouldn't be getting in your kayak without a PFD on. Oh, I got waders. I got this. I got that. I'm only in waist deep water. Like, dude, I'm just trying to tell you, man, you don't want to be out there in a kayak without a PFD on. I can't find one in camo. Well, put one on and put camo on over the top of it. Stupid old man. Okay. So I back off. Simultaneous with that, there's a kid from the Crawfordsville University in Kentucky. I made a comment on his post and said something about, dude, you're representing a fishing team. You really should be wearing your PFD. And he's, you're being it's not required. I have it. I wear it on tournament day, blah, blah, blah. 3 weeks later, the kid that I talked to at the boat ramp ends up on Facebook. He's missing, got out of the John boat into his kayak, flipped his kayak. Cold water overwhelmed him, and he drowned. It's a kid I talked to at the boat ramp. Fast forward 4 months later, the kid I get into an argument with on the internet is the kid that died at the Toledo Bend tournament, not wearing his PFD. So I literally said to myself, what if I just pushed a little harder? What if I was willing to take the face shot and the blowback and the shut up, old man, because I harped on the PFD just a little bit harder? Now, is there the F around and find out a component of my life? Absolutely. Is there the free will, all? Absolutely. But there's also this thing called not knowing any better. And those young men didn't know any better because they had a false sense of security. The one guy thought he had neoprene waders on, and because neoprene is somewhat buoyant, he was good until he fell overboard and hooked his ankle on the boat, and his waders filled up, and his big puffy jacket that was full of water was heavier than the neoprene buoyancy, and that cold ass 30-degree water took his breath, and he was basically incapacitated faster than he could get his stuff back together. And then the other kid, is out there setting the example. And I just watch a mom post on Facebook every day for 4 days. I hope my baby comes on. Pray for my baby. And I'm like, I knew he was dead the first post. I'm liking it. Oh, we praying with you, dear. Everybody's saying, oh, pray for a safe return. There ain't a person that commented to that mom's video that didn't know that dude was dead that day. You can talk all the shit you want to. You can glad hand all you want to. Oh, no, there was a chance. There wasn't a chance. He was not found because he was underwater. You don't not get found with helicopters and lights and all that stuff these days unless you're masked by this big substance that we all love called water. You can hide under that shit. You can't hide on top of it anymore. You will be found. So for 3 days, a mom agonized over false hope that her son was going to come back. For 3 or 4 days, a community rallied around this bullshit idea that he was going to come back. And then, oh, he died doing what he loved. Oh, it's such a inspiration. I hope his memory inspires other people. I do too. I hope it inspires people to not be stupid and to wear their PFD. And I may be even still too soon, and it may be inappropriate. But the fact of the matter is, I got to wear it. I got to have a lump in my throat, and I got to think about the fact that if maybe I was just a little bit more Paw, he called me Paw. Okay, Paw, I can swim. And I was like, damn, I used to say that shit to shut old men down. We're pretty good. And then, so I don't want to shut up anymore, and it's kind of funny that I would say fishing's probably 60-40 or 70-30 conservative to liberal or Republican to Democrat or whatever you want to call it. And of the Democrats that we do have in the sport, most Democrats in the sport of fishing and the sport of hunting are pretty more fiscal Democrats, social programs Democrats, and not like the one extreme or the other. And I don't think we have either of the extremes on the left or the right. But I think it's funny how a lot of these people that are the first ones to bitch and complain and moan about this pledge or call to action, if you actually click on their profile, they got all these pledges like support this, support that, support this, support that. And it's like, and then they're crying about everybody who disagrees with their opinion. And they're saying, if you don't agree with it, just move on. So if you don't agree with taking the pledge, don't take the pledge, but shut up. It's simple. You know, it's like being a vegan on a hunting page. Like, you're on a hunting page. And I love the ones that are like, oh, you should start your own group. Bitch, you're on my group. You're not even, you don't have enough situational awareness to know you're at the host house bitching about the party.
Right.
You know? So anyway, we want to inspire people. We don't want to require them. We want to encourage people, not disparage them. And I'm not talking about some kumbaya foo-foo around the damn fireplace, like Patagonia sweater vest, ankle bracelet with our Birkenstocks crap. I'm just saying, we want to encourage people. Hey, you should consider wearing a PFD, not, hey, dumbass, put your PFD on or stop posting on this group. I mean, let them know that it's preferred that they wear their PFD. Let them know they'll get more traction if they wear their PFD. Let them know that you'll get more interactions if you wear your PFD. We'll be more excited for you if you wear your PFD. But if you're in a canoe with your kid and you're not wearing a PFD and you post a picture with your thing and it gets celebrated, I'm deleting it, because I don't want another dad thinking, oh, I'm going to take my kid fishing and go get a picture of the two of us holding up our fish so I can get that same accolade. Because I can tell you right now, the dad trying to save a kid dying story is the most prevalent story we ever run across. There's more drownings from people trying to save other people than there is anything else out there. And it's because they're not safety trained. They're not wearing a PFD. They don't know their limits. And they go out there thinking they're going to swim out of shape, can't even walk up 2 steps without being out of breath. And you think you're going to swim 100 yards, grab a kid and swim it back to shore? No. You know?
Yeah.
So,
No, it's if people actually read the pledge, you'll see it's not about being argumentative, right? It's about promoting safety within the sport. And so if you see something, and this is why Chad and I didn't want to be like, oh, we just want to cut it down in our groups. We want the dad, maybe for the first time, who's taking his kid out and thinks it's awesome that they caught a fish together and took a photo and not wearing PFD, not to get crucified in the comment section, but have people be like, hey, man, I think it's awesome that you did that. However, just know, and instead of pushing somebody away, invite them in to the fold. And so that's why we're not like staunch every time we're just going to delete it. So got to give an opportunity for the conversation. Now, if you're going to be a jackhole about it, and it's our group. We make the rules for the group. We don't want you in that community because you think you think you're selfish and terrible for the sport and irresponsible. Yeah, by all means, you're gone. I have over 2,000 people that I've banned from Kayak Fishing Freaks. I just looked at it a couple days ago. 2,000. And so
on a positive note, and not that you're being negative, you're setting boundaries. You're setting boundaries. And on that, I've noticed though, and I've talked to you about this, Daren, on this, a few days ago, where I've noticed some people that were not wearing PFDs at all in their fish pictures and are now wearing them because of this, right? What we're doing right here. And I think that's pretty cool to see that happening. And then they're wearing them even, before they get to the kayak or after the kayak, because that's even important, as we know. So,
yeah. Well, folks, go ahead and throw KFAST if you have not done so yet. If you came in a little bit late, we're going to be giving away some of these courses. If you have a question for Chad, Marty, Wyatt, or myself, we have a smorgasbord of comments over here. I don't see any questions to see a lot of. Appreciate it. Here's one from Steve Sturgeon. I almost got 100 responses from one post I made on Kayak Fishing Freaks about one person who posted a picture without his PFD. Lots of hate and discontent out there. And at the end of the day, Stephen, I've taken the hits. You're taking hits, but coming out of the gate, you might have to take some hits to change the culture. And I'm okay with that. So I appreciate you taking some hits and keep on moving forward.
It's also engagement. It helps push the narrative. And 9 times out of 10, if you're arguing with an idiot, one of two things happen. People either see that there's 2 idiots arguing, or they go, man, that guy's an idiot. So as long as you don't stoop to his level, somebody that jumps in and sees that narrative goes, that guy is being a good advocate for the sport. And that guy's being an idiot. I'm going to go do what that guy says.
Yeah.
You know?
Here's a good question coming in from John Molnar Nova. Question: I had a co-angler that dumped his kayak on the Shenandoah while wearing an inflatable that didn't inflate. PFD was up to specs, but defective. Any consideration for banning inflatables? Chad, what's your thoughts on that?
Not really. And because I'll be honest with you, I think that inflatables should always be also PFD. They should be like in addition to, another form. Austin wears a PFD that's inflatable. He has a full blown PFD on board. It's hidden, obviously, because he's got so much crap on his boat. It looked like a yard sale if he had more stuff on there, but he can get to it. He's with me, or someone 99% of the time. But we inspect those PFDs and we activate them regularly. And it's worth the blown CO2 cartridge to test them, and it's worth buying an extra PFD every now and then. Because in theory, when you inflate those things with the CO2, you've compromised the seal. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of one and done. So I'm not advocating going out and testing them with the CO2 cartridge, repeatedly. Blow it up, make sure it works, roll it back up and stow it. But I'll be honest with you, I have not seen a green PFD indicator on an inflatable that didn't work. I've seen people who don't know how to check it. I've also seen people who have a green indication, and the CO2 cartridge was like half expired, so it didn't fully inflate the PFD. But all that being said, even every auto inflate still has a manual inflate, and I've yet to see a manual inflate that doesn't work. So at a very minimum, the manual inflate is a backup. And I said this in yesterday's video, or the video that released today. I'm not a fan of inflatables. I think inflatables are not the best, but I would rather somebody wear an inflatable or have an inflatable that they'll wear than have a standard foam PFD that they don't wear. So I justify my support of and prevention of banning inflatables because I would rather you wear an inflatable than not wear another PFD, especially a more premium inflatable. But 100%, we do not allow belt style PFDs. Never have, never will. Not going to. Don't ask me. You can ask me, but you're wasting breath. They're nothing but a duck butt float up. In other words, they just make your ass float up in an air like a duck when it's feeding so that your family can find your body if they recognize you ass first, because that's about the only way that thing's going to do anything. An inflatable belt band is a swimmer's PFD. It is not a life jacket or a PFD. It is an aid to swimming. It is not I'm going to help you float. So the belt style are practically useless. You can almost puff up your shorts and get more flotation than you'll get out of those belt style. You can just fart in your shorts after you get in the water and you'll pretty much do the same thing. So,
all right, got some questions here from the comment section. And if you have not yet done so, I've seen some people writing KFAST in the comment section. You should, but don't put the exclamation point afterwards. It won't get sucked into the giveaway that we're going to be doing here in just a moment. All right, some comments. We have Saltwater Vet. I think the course is undervalued. I paid $600 for my ACA certification and would easily pay that for the guide or instructor courses. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Also had someone comment earlier, I don't see it here, but they said a lot more people would take it if it was free. And I don't disagree with you. And maybe there's a point in KFAST, the business, where we get some grants that could offer free, right? But we're definitely not there yet. We have some costs we need to cover.
On that, Daren, like we're working with the University of Nebraska here on getting a kayak fishing club started and so forth.
Yeah.
But what we're looking at is using, like you say, using part of your grant money for organizations to pay for those for your people in your organization.
Yeah.
I think that would help quite a bit.
We would love to be able to offer that at some point in time.
Yeah.
However, there's a lot of expenses getting the business up off the ground,
Right.
but not off the table. We'd love to find those companies or find those individuals or find those grants and who do that. Yak Bass over here, comment, catch savings already paid for it. So let the cat out of the bag. You know, one of those awesome companies are, and that code that you're going to get on the back end. Here's a good question, Chad, since you are an ACA certified instructor from Fur Fishing. When do I need a KFAST certificate versus an ACA certification?
I mean, you don't really, quote unquote, need either one of them. The only way you need the ACA certification is if you want to be certified to say you're certified or to go to the next level of the ACA certification process. And the only reason you'll need a KFAST certification course is if we ever make it mandatory for a course. So it's really more of a personal investment than it is a you have to have it thing right now. Like we talked about, inspired, not required. But with the ACA, you need certain prerequisites before you can go to the next course. You know, I'll reiterate what I said and what was just confirmed by Saltwater there. It was $600 for a course for me. That is for L2. For me to go 3, 4, you know, and then some subspecialties on up to level 5 would be $2,500 to $4,000. That's not counting travel, expenses, all that other stuff. The other thing that we really wanted to do in KFAST is like it just worked out that the acronym had fast in it, but we wanted it to be relatively fast. We didn't want it to be a multi-day drug out commitment, a deterrent for you wanting to even commit to doing it. So we wanted to make it. So we talked about this in the background. You have to do this thing called a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats when you're launching a business. And so one of the things that we looked at when we were kind of evaluating what else is out there, and the only other thing that's out there is the ACA, is that to a certain extent, the ACA is a little bit exclusive. It's somewhat elite training, and then it's also expensive. So we call that the 3 E's. So to counterpoint that and to be able to offer, a different offering, we wanted ours to be what we call the 3 A's. We wanted it to be attainable. We wanted it to be available, where you didn't have to travel across the country to get it. And we wanted it to be affordable. And so we think that we've accomplished all of that. For the person that said they wish it was free and you think more people would take it, I'll be honest with you. It's net $50 negative right now. You pay $25 and you'll be getting $75 value as soon as we've already locked in the 2 other deals. So you pay $25 and you get $75 back. That's better than free in the world I live in. Carry the one, So there isn't really there's not a ticket to the hotel that you get in or the ball with the ACA certification or with the KFAST certification, but KFAST gets you to that next level, and KFAST gets you specialized training in kayak fishing so that before it's required, or if it ever becomes required, we can avoid the states going, it is now mandatory for you to take that boater safety course, which, by the way, just for the sake of argument, the boater safety course you have to take in Alabama to register your motorized kayak is $40. I am trying to get it to where I'm literally going on March 20th. I'm on a call, a VTC, a video teleconference with NASBLA, the National Association of State Boating Law Agencies, to become part of their paddle sports panel, right? And then the idea is that I want to advocate for them that this course is better than the boater safety course. So in theory, if I can do that for every state that requires the boater safety course to register your kayak with a motor, I'm going to save you $15, or we're going to save you $15 because this course is $25 and the state mandated course is $40. Right. Oh, and by the way, the state course you got to redo every 3 years, and now this one you do one time.
Yeah, I like it. You got Jason Young, D7J over here. I'm new to kayak fishing, and the first thing I bought after my kayak was a PFD because I saw every serious kayak angler wearing one every time. It only makes sense. Keep up the great messaging. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. From Cooperating with Grace. I'm 55, looking to get into kayak fishing. I very much appreciate what you guys are doing. I don't yet have a kayak, but I'm going to take this course. I watch all Chad and Wendell's fishing videos. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let me see here. Tyler, RM6PW. I'm going to take the course, and if I like it, I'll pin the course in the kayak section of my fishing forum. Appreciate you. This is what it takes. Just every day, a little bit by little bit. It's like creating a YouTube channel. Little bit by little bit. We're going to get this thing to scale, and in time, it will just be the standard, right? And so we're going to make this sport that we all love and care for a safer one. More people are going to want to get involved in it. Moms and dads won't feel as stressed out about getting their kids involved in it, and it's just going to be a safe sport. In fact, we just released a few days ago, maybe a week ago, the gift to a friend. So if you have that guy or have that girl that you fish with that it's like live on the wild side a little bit, right? They just like to push the limits when it comes to safety. You can simply just go on the website and you'll see a little section right there under the course where you can gift to a friend, and it'll show up and you can write them a message. Hey man, care about you. Want you to be safe out there. I took this and let's live to fish another day. All right. I think that's all the questions I have here. Let me see what else I have here. Any other thoughts, Wyatt, Marty, Chad, before I move on to this giveaway?
So, I mean, my thought just kind of rolling through all this is the largest continuous audience that we've had. It's been over 100.
Over 100.
Consistently for a long time. And I'm not seeing a lot of questions. I'm seeing a lot of, I've had that situation happen. This is a good value. Like the amount of people who every single one of us has almost fallen out of the kayak. Every single one of us has done this stuff. I guess it's going to be common sense to have this. And every single person in the comments is just kind of mirroring all those thoughts.
You know what's funny is there was an analogy made, and it still blows my mind that this guy made this analogy.
Oh my gosh, I know what you're doing.
He responded to Daren and said, "I can't believe you guys are making such a big deal about this. I just checked Chat GPT, and only 6 people died in my state from not wearing a PFD last year." And I'm like, did you just say that your justification is only 6 people died? What in the absolute? And then he came back with the analogy that like, oh, this is like the whole helmet versus no helmet argument. You know what's funny is I see a lot of people advocating for not wearing helmets. You know who I've never seen advocate for not wearing a helmet? Somebody who's ever laid a motorcycle down. I've never seen a person who's laid a motorcycle down still advocate for not wearing a helmet. Every person that's scraped off half their skin sliding down the road and bounced their gourd off the road and lived to tell about it is no longer a don't wear your helmet advocate. So very few people that have almost died from not wearing their PFD, if any, are going to be the person that still thinks you don't have to wear your PFD and doesn't want to advocate for it. Because honestly, if you don't want to wear it and you don't think other people should wear it, and you're also the type of person that's going to just dig your heels in and that's the hill you're going to die on, PFD at that point, changes meaning for you. It stands for pretty freaking dumb. Because if you're that ignorant, that, you've passed ignorant and not knowing better, you've crossed over into dumb. Like you can't be that stupid to where, okay, you've made the choice for yourself. But if you're willing to like rant and rave about people who are trying to make something safer, you've become an idiot at that point. And if you keep commenting and you keep engaging, you're just a useful idiot because you're making the message get more traction, get more distribution, and more people are looking at it, shaking their head going, man, that guy's an idiot. I don't want to be like him, so I'm going to wear my PFD. So thanks to all the useful idiots out there. I appreciate y'all.
And we get a lot of that in the comment section. Hey, mind your own business. Don't tell me what to do. We're not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I'm going to do if you put out – I'm not canceling you. If you put out content that I think is selfish, terrible for the sport I love, which is my business, right, it's gone. Right? That's not the community. That's not what I want my kids coming across. That's not what I want other people's kids coming across on social media and seeing that it's cool. Because believe it or not, as much as a awesome human being or a piece of crap that you may be, there's probably some kid that looks up to you. right? And so we're not telling you what to do. We're just telling you what we're going to do. And that's what the pledge is all about, right? And eventually we'll have an army of 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, and this will just be, it'll be normal. I mean, this will be not even a conversation in 5 years.
My favorite one was the guy who told me to mind my business. And I was like, well, ironically enough, this is my business.
This is my business.
Page.
Someone wrote in the comments, being dead really cuts into one's fishing time. 1,000%. All right, folks, you guys are awesome. We have 110 live right now. It's a banger of a show. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you're excited about what's to come with Advance. June 1 is going to be that target launch date for this, where you can earn from it, where you can learn a whole lot more. And so we're pumped up about that. Thank you all who have been a proponent.
I want to make one last observation before we go, because as much as it is notable that Marty has saved 5 people, I'm going to caution people to not fish around him, because there's a lot of people dying fishing in the vicinity of Marty.
They didn't die.
Like
So the odds are almost dying. So odds are fishing near Marty is potentially dangerous. So if you see him at a tournament, go the other way.
Yeah, it's like one of those cats in the nursing home when it comes like lays with you, you know you're dead next. Yeah, don't go guiding with Marty.
I fish a lot of treacherous conditions.
That's true.
One last thing, Chad. I know we briefly mentioned it, but there will be a bonus structure for those of you fishing KBF tournaments, right? So if you're KBF and you win and you're KFAST certified, Chad and I haven't landed on what that number is going to be yet. We're still noodling that around, but you can win some extra cash. And of course you're not, well, you're just not going to be able to win that.
Yeah,
so
I said May earlier. It's actually April.
April.
I'll announce it next week. March is the last month where things are kind of froze, but April 1st, when most of the country's live and fishing and going after it and all that kind of stuff, will launch April. So April through September, there will be prizes. And then at the championship, there'll be even bigger prizes for being KFAST certified.
I love it. Let's give away some of these certification. Well, we're not going to give away the certification. You actually got to test out and earn those. We can give away the courses, give you the opportunity to do so. All right, let's go ahead and get this party started. Let's go ahead and give away $100 worth of courses tonight. Let's give away 4, and you got a bunch of people. You're only going to be able to win once. So if you have yet to do so, go ahead and write KFAST in the comment section. Be a part of this. Drawing number 1. Who do we got? See a lot of names in there. Some regulars on the show. I love it. And the first winner is going to be Chris Johnson, my man. Write me at Daren@KFAST.co, and I will get you a code sent out tomorrow. So appreciate you, Chris. Thanks for listening in. Let's go ahead and do this a few more times. Let's draw again. Here we go. Got some comments over here, Marty. Everyone's avoiding you, my friend. I love it.
Avoiding me.
All right, the winner's William Crawford, 7857. William, write me at Daren@KFAST.co. Tomorrow I'll get you a code out there. We can get you all set up. Let's go ahead and give away a couple more. Here we go. Spinning the StreamYard wheel here.
Fish are going to be safe around me then, aren't they?
I like it. Tyler RM6PW. Go ahead and hit me up. I love it. And someone's asking, will these be good towards Advance? They will not. We don't have Advance ready yet, and I don't feel like managing all that. We'll be giving away some of those when we launch Advance. We'll be doing another podcast sharing about all that then. Congratulations, Tyler. And one more giveaway for tonight. Here we go. Who's going to top off the show here? And that is going to be, my man, Fish Forge Off-Road.
Oh, we know that guy.
We know that guy. Tyler's a good
Yeah.
man. So appreciate you, Tyler. I know we've had some conversations earlier today. I think this is going to be, Chad, one of our first guide instructors out there on the coast. Big saltwater angler, big proponent of safety. So love everything you're doing, Tyler. Well, folks, I appreciate you listening in. You guys are freaking awesome. Well, Chad, real quick, I saw you had something.
One last thing. Andrea White, who has been helping us pretty extensively, and she's also the person that kind of coached me through my ACA certification navigation of the system process, reminded me to remind everyone that there is a free course through the ACA. It's called the ACA Quick Start Guide. We'll actually post that up on the KFAST business page and make it a pinned comment, because again, put our money where our mouth is. We want you to be safe, even if it is taking the free safety course. It's not as comprehensive as KFAST, but it's 35 minutes roughly to finish it. It's called the Safe Start program. You could literally Google Smart Start for safe kayak fishing. It's a little starter course. And then a little statistic that she threw at me while we're doing the live, because she's watching and cares about it. And she said, literally just in Florida alone, it's only February 24th, and 4 people so far this year have died from not wearing a PFD. So that's just Florida. That's not counting all the other states. So be safe out there. But again, if you are looking for the free course, the ACA offers that Smart Start course. It's about 35 minutes to finish it. And if you're from Missouri, Arkansas, Nebraska, that might be an hour and a half. But you know what I'm saying? Just like the rest of us, it's about 35 minutes. And
it took me 2 hours and 20 minutes, Chad.
It's free. So check that out. And that's something else that we can do, is spread the word about safety, even if it doesn't, necessarily involve us.
Yeah. And what we've been finding, that if you take the time to watch the videos for KFAST as well, do some timings, I've been getting this question a lot. How long will it take you? And so you could probably finish this thing anywhere from 2.5 hours to 3 hours, the KFAST basic. So if you're kind of wondering like, hey, how much time do you need to devote to this? And you can log in as many times as you want to in order to do that. Most people are finishing in just a couple logins, but we have over 500 hours so far training out the door in the first couple of weeks. So pretty excited about that. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Wyatt. Good luck in your tournament. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Chad. Yeah. And thank you, everybody else who is helping push this message forward. We couldn't do it without you. I will see all y'all next Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. You guys have a good one.